What if all insects disappeared from Earth? Imagine waking up one morning to a strange, almost unsettling silence. No more buzzing cicadas, no mosquitoes whining by your ear, no ants marching across your kitchen floor. Flies are gone. Bees no longer hum between flowers. Every insect on Earth, gone overnight. At first, it might feel like a relief. No more mosquito bites, no more bugs crawling into your food, no cockroaches in your kitchen, no moths dancing around your light bulbs. But then something shifts. Fruit shelves in supermarkets start looking sparse. Flowers bloom but fail to bear fruit. Birds stop singing. Trash piles up. A foul odor spreads on the breeze. The soil grows dry and everything becomes eerily quiet. That quiet isn't peace. It's a warning. Because when insects vanish, ecosystems begin to collapse. Food chains fall apart. Agriculture breaks down. Disease spreads. And humanity? We enter a countdown for survival. You haven't just lost some annoying bugs. You've lost the foundation of life itself. In nature, insects aren't just tiny, disposable creatures we can ignore. They are the scaffolding of nearly every ecosystem on Earth, pollinating, feeding, connecting, decomposing, and sustaining life for millions of other species. Start with the food chain. Most birds feed on insects. Frogs eat insects. Lizards, spiders, snakes, they all depend on them. These insect eaters are, in turn, prey for larger animals: foxes, owls, raccoons, even wildcats and wolves. When insects disappear, the bottom of the food chain collapses, triggering a domino effect that brings everything above it crashing down. Within weeks, birds vanish from the skies. Their nests go empty as parents fail to find food. Frogs starve at the edges of rice fields. Fish lose their food supply as mosquito larvae and aquatic bugs vanish. Predators like snakes, foxes, and bears begin fighting for scraps or starve in growing desperation. But that's not the worst part. Forests fall silent. No buzzing cicadas. No butterflies flitting through trees. No bees among the blossoms. Vibrant natural symphonies give way to a hollow stillness. Like life itself is retreating, suffocating slowly. Grass grows untouched. Leaves fall and rot. Animal corpses lie unburied, untouched by flies or beetles, with no natural decomposition in sight. Nature, once self-cleaning, becomes a haunting wasteland, where death accumulates and life fades. This isn't just the loss of a few bugs. This is a global collapse of the wild, like ripping the foundation out from a skyscraper. Nothing can stand. And when nature falls, humans, perched at the top of the food web, will fall with it. If the collapse of wild ecosystems is nature's silent tragedy, the loss of insects in agriculture is humanity's loud, immediate crisis. Few realize that the abundance of food on our plates, fresh fruit, vegetables, even your morning coffee, depends on small, tireless workers: bees, butterflies, flies, and even ants. In fact, nearly 75% of the world's food crops rely on insect pollination. Without them, plants may flower, but never bear fruit. Crops fail. Harvests shrink. At first, the change is subtle, but within months, prices spike. Fresh produce vanishes. Staple items, strawberries, apples, tomatoes, pumpkins, cocoa, almonds, become luxury goods. Even meat and dairy prices rise, as livestock feed depends on crops that rely on pollinators. Food shortages ripple outward, not just in poorer nations, but across wealthy ones too. Global supply chains fracture. Countries begin limiting exports. Conflicts over food and fresh water ignite. Artificial pollination? Sounds like a fix, but it's more sci-fi than solution. Robots or manual labor can't match the scale or efficiency of billions of insects pollinating in perfect harmony. A single bee can pollinate thousands of flowers in a single trip, something that would take humans hours, even days, to replicate. In the end, famine won't come from bombs or natural disasters. It will come from something seemingly invisible: the silent disappearance of the tiny, overlooked creatures we once ignored. And when the earth stops bearing fruit, our existence will grow more fragile than ever. In nature, every creature plays a role. Some are predators, some are pollinators. Some build homes and protect forests, and then there are those who take on a humble yet vital job, cleaning up. Every single day, Earth produces millions of tons of organic waste, from animal droppings, carcasses, fallen leaves, decaying fruit, to broken branches. Without someone to process it all, our green planet would quickly turn into a giant landfill. And when it comes to sanitation, no one does it better than insects. Dung beetles burrow underground, rolling animal waste into neat balls to feed their young, while unintentionally aerating and fertilizing the soil. Flies lay their eggs in rotting carcasses, giving rise to larvae that can consume an entire corpse in just days. Ants, cockroaches, and beetles help break down dead matter and return it to nature's cycle. But if insects vanish, this entire system grinds to a halt. Imagine a deer dying in the forest, with no flies, no beetles, no decomposition. Its body lingers for weeks, maybe months, rotting beneath a blistering sun. In farms, cow manure piles up with no one to process it. On fields, fallen leaves accumulate layer by layer, never shredded or absorbed into the soil. Trash dumps on the outskirts of cities grow taller by the day. The stench travels for miles. Now, the job of waste management falls to microbes and fungi, but they're far too slow to keep up with the sheer volume of organic matter produced every day. In truth, insects are the biological accelerators that keep nature's engine running. Without them, everything slows down. Dead things linger longer. Disease spreads faster. As waste accumulates, new threats emerge. Environments become toxic. The air thickens with foul odors. Leachate from decomposing matter contaminates groundwater. Soil loses its nutrients because there's no one left to recycle them. Ironically, flies, often seen as disease carriers, actually help prevent the unchecked spread of decay. Without flies and scavenging bugs, bacteria multiply freely, infecting water, air, and eventually humans. In rural areas and farms, where nature once handled animal waste, disaster hits even faster. Manure piles grow thick, releasing toxic gases and breeding disease, sometimes even contaminating nearby crops and slashing food productivity. And in cities, things aren't much better. Without organic waste-eating bugs, trash surges, waste systems, already stretched thin, become overwhelmed. Landfills reek. Leachate seeps into urban soil. Methane from trapped organic waste raises local temperatures, and without bees, butterflies, beetles, even city greenery starts to wilt, fading into lifeless shades of brown. Bit by bit, Earth, once known as the blue planet, turns into an open grave, hot, rotting, and clogged with waste no one can clean. A world where nothing decays, where life isn't reborn, and where even the most advanced human technology can't undo what's been lost. But the crisis doesn't end on land. The underwater world also begins to fall apart. In ponds, rivers, wetlands, and freshwater systems, insect larvae are the backbone of aquatic food webs. Fish fry, tadpoles, frogs, salamanders, they all rely on protein-rich insect larvae like mosquito wigglers, water bugs, and dragonfly nymphs to survive and grow. These larvae form the base layer of aquatic ecosystems. Without them, organisms at the lowest levels begin to starve. Fish lack food. Tadpoles die before becoming frogs. Survivors grow slower, reproduce less, and gradually vanish. And it's not just food that disappears, so does nature's cleaning crew. Many aquatic insect larvae feed on decaying matter, processing sediments, consuming debris, purifying the bottoms of lakes and ponds. They are the janitors of freshwater. Without them, sludge builds up fast. Water turns thick, stagnant, and deoxygenated. Ecosystems collapse from the bottom up. This ripples out into aquaculture. Fish farms and shrimp ponds, once reliant on natural balance, fall into chaos. Fish stop growing, shrimp grow sick. Production costs skyrocket while yields plummet. From small river fishing villages to massive industrial aquaculture farms, everyone is struggling to stay afloat. More alarmingly, marine ecosystems begin to suffer indirect consequences. Many small ocean fish migrate to estuaries to spawn, areas once teeming with insect larvae. Now, those spawning grounds have become dead zones without a scrap of food, leading to a sharp decline in offshore fish populations. The global seafood web begins to unravel. At this point, humanity isn't just losing crops on land, we're also losing food from the oceans. The two main pillars of global food security begin to crumble. Coastal nations, cultures built over generations around fishing and seafood, now face a massive collapse in livelihood. Insects don't live underwater, but their presence on land nourishes life deep below the surface. Once this natural cycle is broken, both soil and sea are left barren, not just of sustenance, but of hope. The first day after insects vanish might feel strangely peaceful. No more mosquito buzz near your ear, no ants on your kitchen counter, no flies circling the trash or moths flying toward the light. Everything feels cleaner, neater, more orderly. Many might even breathe a sigh of relief, thinking they've finally been freed from nature's oldest nuisances. But within weeks, that silence takes on a sinister tone. Grocery shelves start to empty. Strawberries, apples, pumpkins, tomatoes vanish. People scramble over the last bunches of greens. Wholesale markets spike in price. Food stores close due to lack of supply. Panic buying begins. And then, chaos. In rural areas, the source of food production, farmers confront a phenomenon never seen in human agricultural history. Plants bloom but bear no fruit. Rice fails to grain. Melons stop growing. Fields remain green, but it's an illusion. Without bees, butterflies, ants, or flies to pollinate, the entire agricultural system, built over millennia, faces collapse. And that's only the beginning. With no insects to decompose dead animals, no flies to lay eggs in carcasses, no ants to clean up organic waste, the world begins to stink. Cattle farms and pig pens turn into massive piles of rotting waste, full of pathogens. Outbreaks of diarrhea, malaria, and intestinal diseases spread rapidly through nearby communities. In cities, trash systems quickly become overwhelmed. Thousands of tons of organic waste, once naturally broken down by insects, now accumulate. Landfills become breeding grounds for infection. Hospitals overflow with patients, while supplies of food, medicine, and clean water dwindle. The crisis has now leapt beyond agriculture into health, sanitation, and social stability. Some neighborhoods are forced to evacuate due to biohazard contamination. Once bustling cities empty out, people leave or simply cannot survive amid toxic air and food scarcity. Protests break out over clean water, food, and basic survival. Modern technology can't save us. Machines can't replace billions of living organisms working 24/7. Robots can't pollinate every flower. Humans can't duplicate the scale and efficiency of nature with sheer willpower. We became too dependent on something we once dismissed: insects. We, the species that stood atop the food chain, wielding the power to reshape an entire planet, are now brought to our knees by the absence of Earth's tiniest life forms. Not by war, not by plague, not even by climate disaster, but by a quiet, almost invisible catastrophe: the disappearance of insects. And so, the final question arises: if that day truly came, how long would humanity survive? A year? 5 years? A few months? The answer won't come from money, weapons, or machines. It lies in the connection we've lost between humans and the natural world. In modern life, we've grown used to thinking of insects as pests. They're killed without hesitation, sprayed with chemicals, crushed underfoot, or simply ignored in disgust. But maybe it's time we look again, not with fear or annoyance, but with respect and gratitude. Insects, though tiny, fragile, and often forgotten, are the silent operators of this planet. They help plants bear fruit, keep forests alive, feed the animal kingdom, break down organic waste, clean the environment, and uphold the delicate balance of ecosystems. Not humans, not machines. It is insects who keep Earth functioning as a living system. Without them, things begin to fall apart, from natural food chains to modern agriculture, from ponds to oceans, from ancient forests to busy city streets. Every corner of our world, whether we realize it or not, is touched by the presence of insects. Without them, Earth is no longer livable. It becomes a world of decay, stripped of green, short on food, and disturbingly silent. A world where humans, no matter how advanced, simply can't survive for long. We once believed that with technology and intelligence, we could master nature. But the truth is painfully clear. Nature doesn't need us. We, on the other hand, can't live without it. And in that vast, intricate machine of life, insects, small as they are among the most critical gears. So next time you see a slow-moving ant on the wall or a clumsy bee buzzing through your garden, don't swat it away. Don't turn your back in disgust. Remember, behind the buzzing, behind the wings, is a system working tirelessly to keep you alive. Insects are not our enemies. They are our silent saviors, carrying the weight of this planet on their tiny backs.